Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Carl, I'll follow up a little bit. You gave a speech to the National Conservatism Conference in July of 2024 entitled "On the Persecution of Whites in America," and one of the things you said was American whites are victims of a cultural genocide. A cultural genocide. Where to start? So you'd agree with me, wouldn't you, that whites are pretty well represented in the United States Senate?
They are well represented in this body, yes, Senator.
And how about in the House of Representatives?
Senator Kaine, I don't have those particular numbers, however...
But you would agree that they're pretty well represented in the House of Representatives?
Senator, I would, again, thank you for the question. I would point out that there were no white Protestants by birth in the 25 cabinet members under Joe Biden.
How about in the ranks of American presidents throughout history, including now, pretty well represented whites?
Senator...
And how about in the ranks of vice presidents during American history now? Whites pretty well represented in that group, right?
Senator, thank you again for the question.
Yeah. I don't think it's hard. How about on the United States Supreme Court? Throughout our history, and including now, whites are pretty well represented on the United States Supreme Court, correct?
Senator, will you permit me an opportunity to finish my answer? I think obviously, historically, I would, of course, agree with you. Of course, the vast majority of Americans were white at that time. It's now a much more diverse society.
Let's focus on right now. How about in the ranks of American governors? You think whites are pretty well represented?
Senator, thank you for that question. I would just have to look at the numbers. I don't know.
Okay, how about this? In the ranks of CEOs of major corporations today, let's not talk about today. You think whites are pretty well represented?
Senator, thank you for the question. I suspect that they are probably pretty well represented in that. But there are other areas where they're not as well represented.
How about in the ranks of high-income people? And we can define it however you want. Let's just say like top 10% of wealthy Americans. You think whites are pretty well represented?
Senator, thank you for the question. They would certainly be underrepresented with respect to Asian Americans, but they would be overrepresented with respect to other groups.
Yeah. So, a cultural genocide, that's a stiff claim. And it's an interesting one because it's kind of a white victimhood argument. But if I remember my colleague, Senator Rosen, she was reading comments to you where you had been saying, man, Jews play the victim. Jews like to be the victim. And yet you're making a claim that whites are victimized by a cultural genocide when all the statistics would say, not just in history but today, that whites are very well represented at every level of every institution. They're very well represented in the incomes of Americans. And that doesn't mean each person is high income or each person is a Supreme Court justice, but you could look institution after institution in this country, and the facts completely rebut the notion that whites are victimized by a cultural genocide. I have a question for Mr. Long I want to get to. Mr. Long, we've had a little controversy in the last couple weeks about Iceland. President Trump gave a speech in Davos, and he said, I'm helping NATO until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. The problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%, but I'm not sure that they'll be there for us. They're not there for us on Iceland, that I can tell you. Our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland, so Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. Now, the White House said the president didn't mistake Greenland and Iceland. Senator Rubio at a hearing here last week or 2 weeks ago said the president mistook Greenland and Iceland. But let me ask you this. Do you know of any problem we have with Iceland? Has Iceland cost us a lot of money? Did Iceland cause our stock market to decline? Are you aware of any facts that would support that Iceland has cost us a lot of money or hurt our stock market?
Everything. We won't take this against my time, I guess, but don't you have a nexus to Missouri also?
I do.
I thought.
I'm a Mizzou grad.
I got two here now. I got a couple of opportunities. But, Senator, everything that I have been given to understand, everything I've been studying the last 6 months, Iceland is a very good ally, as you know. And we've been with them since day one when no one else was.
So, and actually this is important, and I think, so you have not in your conversations with folks with the Trump administration been told in any way that Iceland is a problem, Iceland's costing us money, Iceland's hurting our stock market. Is that correct?
I have not been told that, no. And I
Okay.
think
That-
just the opposite. I think Iceland's we were talking earlier, I'm not sure if you were in the room or not, but about
Well, you were talking about how you regretted the 52nd state thing. That's right, when I walked in.
the economy and the biotechnology that they have in Missouri, the state of Missouri, as you know, in St. Louis, Rolla, Kansas City, huge in biotech. And I'm excited to get over there and have opportunities to get things going. But I'm a people person. I was an auctioneer, real estate broker, salesman, and I enjoy people. I just do. And if you go over the House and check through the Democrats that are still there, that was there when I was there, I had as many friends on the Democrat side of the aisle as I did
I'm over time, but I'm just really glad to hear that you've not been given any, warning or instruction or expression of concern from the administration that Iceland is a problem, because I think they're an ally. Thanks, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you,
big
sir.
ally. Thank you.
Senator Booker.